Hello, and welcome to The Pool is Abstract, where we're currently rewatching and dissecting the revived series of Doctor Who, episode by episode. My name is Connor, and with me is the man who's definitely danced in his pants to ELO.
I have, yeah. Many times. While watching this episode as well.
Hi, Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
Today, we are covering a beloved fan favourite episode from Series 2. Episode 10.
Yeah, probably one of the best episodes of...
I think so. I think this is generally regarded as maybe the peak of the series.
Either this or the previous two, I think.
Yeah. Or the next one.
A slight drop-off, but, it's not as bad as, like, School Reunion and...
So we're covering Love and Monsters today. Love and Monsters aired on June 17th, 2006, written by Russell V. Davis. Yeah, people don't like this one, do they?
No, I don't. Yeah, no, they don't.
No. I feel like I just need to get this off my chest, and I feel like you're in the same position to me here.
Yeah.
This episode's not that bad.
It's not even the worst episode of season 2.
It's not even next.
No, it is the third.
Maybe the third worst.
It is,
but
yeah.
I'm not going to fight to the death over this and say that this is, like, the best thing ever, but it's I enjoy it.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's, well, some
I'd
bits
say objectively it's middling Doctor Who, but I enjoy it anyway.
Objectively, it's middling Doctor Who, but different, I guess.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of hard to compare to... I mean, we said this just before recording, but it's kind of hard to compare to, like, episodes like New Earth and Tooth and Claw, because it's just... Those are very, like, meat and potatoes Doctor Who, where this is a bit different. It's experimental.
Yeah.
Obviously, first Dr. Light episode,
yeah,
which went on to be a bit of a kind of recurring motif, at least through Russell's first era.
I do get that, but I think this one and Blink are the only real two where you feel it, because Series 4 it comes on to, you get one Doctor one and one
companion
one.
Yeah.
Whereas this and Blink is
both of them are
light. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like obviously it was a bit of a risk, I think. I know the reason they started the whole like Dr. Light thing was so they could like double bank the episodes to fit in a Christmas special into the series. They obviously needed more filming time with David Tennant, Billy Piper, whatever. So that's why I think while this was being filmed, I think those two were filming Impossible Planet and
Satan Pit. Because I think the Satan Pit was Billy Piper's the last scene that she did was them at the end of Satan Pit. So
wow, okay.
This must have been near the end, which must have been nice for her.
Yeah.
Chasing Peter Kay. Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was essentially the purpose. It was a logistical thing, so they could keep the same amount of episodes but still include a Christmas special. And I quite like the absence of the Doctor in this story, because I know we talk a bit about, like, me and Charles spoke about it in Parting of the Ways, you and I spoke about it during the Christmas invasion, about feeling the stakes of the episode.
Yeah.
And it's like, the stakes in this obviously aren't as high as those, but not having the Doctor there to save the day, I think knowing that this is like a one-off character who we've never seen before, and as far as we're aware is never going to come back, it always feels like a possibility that he might just die.
He could die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get to it, but that scene at the end where he's about to be absorbed.
Yeah.
He might have been.
If it was a Torchwood episode, he would be dead.
Yeah, but if this was a Torchwood episode, there'd be other things.
Yeah. Do you have any like preamble that you want to say before we get into the story of this?
Not too much. Just I just well-timed this. It's called Love and Monsters.
Valentine's Day.
And it was Valentine's Day yesterday. Yeah. And the episode following this was added back to iPlayer the other day,
and immediately taken down.
Thank God.
Oh, it's all a mess, isn't it?
Well, I like Doctor Who, but I wouldn't be too mad if her never came back.
Yeah, it's not one of the best, but at the same time, I'm a bit of a stickler for archiving historical stuff.
Oh.
So I'm like, that for me, like with the Star Wars, like special edition changes.
Yeah.
It's like, some of them I think are good changes, some I think are bad changes. I don't get annoyed at the special edition being a thing. For me, it's the fact that that's seemingly overwritten the original.
Yeah.
I want the original to be available for anyone to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I stand with it.
Well, I'm sure.
So luckily, Joey, if you own Doctor Who on DVD or Blu-ray, you have the original Fear Her, so cool.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you'll talk about this when you unluckily talk about Fear Her next time.
Next week, yeah.
Cool, yeah. The only other thing I was really going to mention was this episode was originally called I Love the Doctor, not Love and Monsters.
Yeah, I did do a bit of research beforehand where I learned that, and it's not a good title.
It's not. I'm glad they changed it. Love and Monsters is a good title.
Yeah,
I do like it.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, in terms of preamble, I did exactly the same as I did when I did the Christmas Invasion, and I had a look what was on around Doctor Who in 2006.
Okay, yeah.
So cast your minds back to the 17th of June 2006.
17th of June 2006. 7 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Football World Cup was currently ongoing.
Wouldn't have cared.
No? Okay.
No.
I think it was Pool D. I think it was Portugal against Iran.
Right. Peak TV.
Yeah, Peak TV. I don't remember that game. I don't remember that World Cup, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And just before Doctor Who, we had The Weakest Link.
Okay.
As you do.
Very appropriate.
We had 2 stars on there. Kanzi.
Kanzi? Who's that? Okay.
Well, you knew Shane Ward's number 1 last time, so I thought you might know. And Tony Wilson.
Name rings a bell.
I don't know who Tony Wilson is either.
Hold on. I'm just going to Google this.
Well, while you're Googling that, obviously then Doctor Who, and then after that, the National Lottery Jet Set, where you could win a nice holiday.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so, proper Saturday TV.
Oh, no. I'm looking at Tony Wilson. I have no idea who he is. He's a radio presenter.
Oh, well, there we are then. I'm sure.
What an interesting factoid.
I know. But do you not feel like you're back in June 2006?
Oh, I'm so there. I'm there. I'm picturing how the living room looked then. This really cheap crap surround sound system that my parents bought that worked for a good 6 months. Yeah, I'm picturing it. One thing I do want to say before we get into the actual breakdown of the episode is right. So I'm just going to read this quote to you. Right. So director of this episode, Dan Zeff.
Yeah.
He in an interview he spoke about the tone that he wanted to achieve with this episode.
Yeah.
So I just want you to tell me if you think he accomplished this.
Okay.
Okay. So his quote is, he wanted to emphasize a melancholy feel and emptiness in a world around our characters. Big urban spaces that once may have been full of life but now lay abandoned, rusting, decayed. Amidst this, Elton and his fragile group of friends would almost feel cast adrift, increasingly vulnerable as they are led astray by the sinister Victor Kennedy.
Some of it's true. I think the big urban spaces, and I think Russell T Davies talks about this when he did his commentary. He basically said it's all grey.
Yeah,
essentially,
and London.
And I think that's one of the reasons I wasn't a massive fan of it when I was a kid. It is grey. The whole episode is just bleh. But it makes sense, and yeah, I really do get that impression. I think Russell T Davies said that last scene ish when they're running around amongst the red bricks of Cardiff. We'll get to the it does feel like this is a void of just nothing. It's just horrible. So I get that bit. Elton being cast astray, they do feel a bit tragic.
Elton and his fragile group of friends would almost feel cast adrift, increasingly vulnerable as they led astray by the sinister Victor Kennedy. I think obviously Victor Kennedy is framed to be a bad egg, but the idea that they are slowly being led astray, I don't think is really there. It just seems like soon as he shows up, they stop having fun.
Bliss doesn't last very long, does she?
No.
I mean, so yeah. No, I don't get that one. I get they're probably quite tragic characters.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're an analogy for Doctor Who fans, so...
I feel atted.
Well,
You're talking about the football. What do you mean? A Doctor Who fan doesn't care about the football?
I was gonna bring that up. Well, if Elton is such an analogy for a Doctor Who fan, he likes...
Why does he like football?
Football, a drink, and Spain. Such a bloke.
Yeah, he's such a mid-noughties bloke.
Yeah. The only other thing I was going to really mention in the preamble was 2 days later it was announced that Billie Piper would be leaving Doctor Who.
2 days after this aired?
2 days after this aired. It's a shame.
That's quite late.
Yeah, consider, well, it's 3 episodes before she then leaves.
Yeah, normally we would know like a series in advance.
I think it probably got leaked, or they had to start filming The Runaway Bride, maybe. Such a shame they couldn't have just held it off.
I feel this way about the thing is we're never going to be able to be surprised ever again. I've said for the last like 10 years, I would love to have a surprise regeneration. I'd love for a regeneration not to happen at the series finale. Do you know what I mean? Imagine
yeah.
Imagine halfway through a series or first episode into a new series and it just happens and it's the new Doctor and it's not a gimmick, it's not a one-off.
It's not Live the Land.
Yeah, it's not the next Doctor. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just, yeah, it just happens and no one knew it was coming. That would be amazing, but we'll never have that.
I have a feeling, Shooty now, I don't think he's staying for much longer, and it hasn't been I mean, they've got season 2 in the bag, haven't they?
Yeah.
It could happen.
I don't think it could, even if the BBC wanted to, and that was going to be their marketing strategy, was to not advertise it.
Yeah.
I don't trust the world not to leak it.
Yeah, that's a good point. The only thing we really ever had with that is the power of the Doctor. Obviously, we knew Jodie was going to regenerate.
Well, yeah, that was the thing, because we knew David was coming back, but we didn't know the logistics of how this was going to work.
Turn into each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the closest we've come.
Yeah, I'd love to have more surprises like that, but unfortunately, I just don't think it's possible anymore.
Yeah, no,
You've always got someone with a portable camera in their pocket now.
Yeah,
it's never going to happen again.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised in the next few weeks if it is going to happen. It does leak because they're doing reshoots of season 2, not series 2.
Season 2, series 15.
Series 15. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe, but that's one that you can get to years.
Yeah, it's
later.
some way down the line.
And the only other thing was just the viewers, because Doctor Who fans.
Viewing figures
for this episode.
Yeah.
6.66 million. So the devil's number, because it's such a hellish.
It would have been appropriate if those were the figures for the last
previous
episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
how do those viewing figures compare to the rest of the series?
I didn't look. It would be interesting to know if there's a drop off for Via Her. If some people watch this and went, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, because if anything, you think this one would have higher viewing figures because the last two were really good.
Yeah. Oh, I like I said, I don't mind this one. I think it's okay. It's quite good, actually.
Yeah. But the general consensus is that this episode is toilet. So
yeah, and Russell T Davies says in his commentary, I can imagine going on the internet after this airs. So he knew that this was going to be a bit of a risky one, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine being on the internet in 2006 and the forums.
I can't tell if it'd be more or less toxic.
I think, I don't know.
Because in some ways, internet culture wasn't as overpowering as it is today. But on the other hand, people with access to the internet would have been the nerds, like the people who were really passionate about this.
Yeah. And
so I don't know.
I said this is an analogy as a Doctor Who fan. They probably were very angry.
Do you think they would have even picked that up? Because I feel like people who are that, like, if you have a genuine complaint or criticism with this episode and you can articulate that, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who just kind of parrot what they hear other people saying, go, Love and Monsters bad, probably don't have the media literacy to actually work out that Elton is an analogy for them.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fair. Yeah. What I would say going into this, there is some moments in this episode which are quite rightly panned. And most of them are in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, editing mostly, for me at least.
There's some weird editing. There's some weird story choices.
Yeah,
there's some weird dialogue, but we'll get onto that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Should we go into the episode?
Should we dive in?
Yeah.
Okay, so the episode begins with the man that we will come to know as Mr. Elton Pope. He's kind of running through a construction site, or is it a quarry? I don't really know what it is.
Newport Docks, isn't it?
He's running over a hill near some kind of disused warehouses, it looks like. He runs across a hill and he sees the TARDIS parked on the corner. We get that weird motif, don't we? It's kind of like a variation of the Doctor's theme. They're like, ooh, like that kind of thing. I quite like it because it's different to the normal Doctor's theme, but when it's used in this episode, it does sound a bit more like spooky.
Yeah, it's not President Flavia's song anymore. It's Romana's lullaby or something.
Yeah. So he sees the TARDIS. He walks into one of the nearby warehouses and he gets jump scared after opening a door by a Hoix.
A Hoix, which originally didn't have a name. It was just called The Monster. And is only when the Radio Times run up Russell T Davies and it's like, so what's this thing called? He came up with the Hoiks, which looks great. I really like the look of the Hoiks.
I'm imagining when posed with that question, it was like the end of The Usual Suspects, where he's sat at his desk on the phone and he's looking around the room for anything to give him an inspiration for a name.
What would give you the inspiration for our Hoiks?
I don't know. I imagine maybe he looked at 4 random objects and took the first letter from each one or something. And he's like,
Hoiks.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So he sees a Hoiks and it kind of jump scares him and he goes, rah. And then we cut to Elton going, rah. And the framing device for this episode is that he sat in his bedroom essentially recounting the story of what happened to his video camera. And he says this isn't the beginning of the story, but he thought it would be a good little intro.
Yeah, it is a good intro, I think.
Yeah. And he says, as you say, it's going to be scary.
Oh, gee.
But that's essentially the cold open.
Yeah.
We get our titles. And then when we come back into the episode, we're back there at the docks. And this time, Elton's standing there, and the Hoiks gets distracted by the Doctor, who's kind of dangling a piece of meat.
A big pork chop.
Yeah. He's like, come here, boy, come get the food.
Yeah. I wish the Hoiks was in more episodes of Doctor Who. I just actually think
he's always just got cameos, doesn't he? He's just there. Is he there in Pandorica Opens?
Yeah.
Is he one of them? He's in Torchwood.
Which one?
Combat?
Nope.
Oh, they're Weevils, aren't they?
They're Weevils, yeah.
Hoiks in Torchwood. I know he's in one.
He's in Exit Wounds. And Owen offers him a load of cigarettes to eat or something. And then stabs him in the head with a syringe.
Is he in one of the prison cells?
He's in the nuclear power factory or the hospital or something.
Oh, yeah. So when the Doctor's dangling this piece of meat, Rose runs up with this big blue bucket of what we assume is water. But maybe acid, I don't know.
It could be cold water and...
Yeah, she throws it over the Hoiks and it seems to sizzle and it doesn't like it. And Rose says, you said blue. The Doctor says, I said not blue. And then we get this weird cartoony chase sequence where Elton's kind of standing there with is it 2 or 3 doors either side on his left and right?
So it's 3 doors on one side, 3 doors on the other, and then down the middle there's that one door.
Yeah.
Which wasn't actually there at the place they filmed it, so they had to build it because, quite rightly, why would you have a corridor where you have 3 doors directly facing 3 other doors to lead into a corridor which isn't really a corridor? So they had to build that essentially.
Yeah.
Which seems a lot of effort for a
cutaway.
For a cutaway gag.
Yeah. So I think the Hoiks chases them through one of the doors, and then they come out one of the other doors, Scooby-Doo style.
Oh, yes.
And then next time they come through, they're chasing him, and it's that proper Scooby-Doo gag of they run through the left door, pop out of the right door, then turn around and then run back.
And there's one shot where the Doctor and Rose are in the end door. No, the Doctor's in the end door, Rose is in the closest door, and the Hoiks is in the middle door. And 2 of them are running one way, and the Hoiks is running the other way. I can imagine people hated that, but I
kind of like it.
It's silly.
If it was in a normal episode of Doctor Who, it would feel very out of place. But I don't know. In this episode, I think it's fine. I kind of like it. It's a silly episode anyway. And
is it though? I mean,
well, it's not. It's got some actual kind of tender moments, but in general, I would say the tone is meant to be.
Yeah, I think
funny.
The tone is meant to be funny, but I put a note earlier on saying this episode confuses me.
There are moments where it is genuinely sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, I think even when it's not trying to do something this silly as the Scooby-Doo gag, I think the tone is meant to be funny.
Yeah. It is funny, and I did laugh, and I always would laugh.
Yeah. So at this point, the Doctor turns to Elton and says, "Don't I know you?"
Yeah.
And Elton kind of just panics and runs away.
As you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a slight thought as a kid when he runs away and we go back, we then start following Elton, and I remember thinking, I wish I could have been watching this story instead with the Hoiks.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. So this is when we cut back to Elton in his bedroom talking to the camera, and we get this is when he basically says that, hey, that's not the start of this story. Let's go back to the start. So we cut to him sort of standing outside his childhood home. He's been recorded by a friend called Ursula. He basically tells the story of when he was 3 or 4 years old. He came downstairs one night to find a strange man in his house, and it's him. It's the Doctor.
Thank God, because if it was any other strange
There was a man.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh.
That would be really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget, they can't go into the house because there's 2 women who live there now, and apparently Elton calls it, they're a bit severe. What do you mean?
I'd assume unfriendly.
Okay.
Or maybe a bit full on.
Maybe.
Don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he fully introduces himself. He says he's Elton, not to be confused with, and then we get a smash cut to
Elton John.
Elton John playing piano.
I didn't think that. Well, I was 7 the first time I watched this, but even watching it since, I forget that. Oh yeah, his name's Elton, which is like Elton John.
Yeah. Until he draws attention to it. Yeah, I know. The weird thing is, if you actually find that footage of Elton John playing the piano, the footage of it in the episode is flipped horizontally.
Why?
I don't know. It's the kind of thing people do on YouTube to avoid copyright detection, but I don't know why that they would have done that, because as far as I'm aware, that footage is like unreleased. It's not from like a live performance like DVD or anything.
They got like Elton John lost media or something.
Something like that, yeah, but the footage is flipped. If you look online for that original footage, it's the other way around. I don't know why.
Maybe they're trying to get away with copyright.
Trying to get past the BBC algorithm. I don't know. But yeah, Elton basically says that he's been caught up in a variety of alien incursions recently. He was there during the Auton massacre of Rose.
Which, this was supposed to be the cheap episode of Series 2.
Yeah.
And they completely just refilm the Auton attack. Not as well, I will admit. But,
yeah.
It's
a shame we didn't get that shot of them breakdancing.
Yeah.
When they get disabled and it's kind of like...
Yeah.
Yeah. He says a year later, he watched as an alien ship crashed into Big Ben, and we get that shot from Aliens of London.
Good continuity as well, saying a year. So, yeah.
Do you know what? I'd love to do an episode of the podcast at some point, just talking about continuity, good and bad.
That's never going to work. That's going to last...
It could be multiple parts.
Yeah.
We could do it for like 90 minutes and then say, hey, we'll do another one.
The analogy I can think of with this is, when Peter Capaldi's breaking down the wall in Heaven Sent?
Yeah.
That's going to be that.
That's loop 1, yeah.
That's loop 1. And now we go to, is his name the Doctor or Doctor Who?
Yeah, this podcast is best experienced listening to The Shepherd's Boy on repeat.
I wouldn't mind that too much, to be honest.
Yeah. After the crash of the ship into Big Ben, he says another alien invasion happened on Christmas Day. Obviously being a reference to the Christmas invasion. I love that shot where he's lying in bed and the windows just shatter, which, again, continuity is something that happens in the Christmas invasion. But yeah, that shot where he's like lying in bed, the windows shatter and glass flies everywhere. It's quite funny.
Yeah, apparently there's a deleted bit here. I don't think it's on any media, but... he obviously mentions he gets a rudimentary pulley system. Yes. And apparently you see him making his rudimentary pulley system.
I kind of want to see that.
To get his boots, but it got cut. And
is that available to see?
I don't think so. I don't think it's... I think it probably got cut and not released, so I don't know. Because
sometimes scenes get filmed and then cut from the final cut, but sometimes scenes are like written down in the script but never make it to filming, so I wasn't sure where it'd be. Elton tells us a bit about himself. He says he likes football.
He likes a drink.
He likes a drink.
Which, if you look at the episode, you can tell, because on his shelf just behind him is loads of bottles of beer. He's had a hard time.
I didn't notice that. Are they empty?
I think they're empty, yeah.
Okay.
He's had a hard time, bless him.
But most of all, he loves Jeff Lynne.
Jeff Lynne.
And the Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
And then we get like 30 seconds of him dancing to Mr. Blue Sky.
Yeah, you cut the rudimentary pulley system, but I've got to watch this.
Yeah, it'd be okay if it was like 5 seconds, but it's the fact it goes on for a good while, doesn't it?
It does go on for a fair bit.
So he is checking out his computer one day and he finds a photo of the Doctor at Christmas.
Yeah, hang on though. His computer the internet went into meltdown after the Christmas invasion. I didn't realize a meltdown meant your keyboard sparks.
Yeah. Well, that's just movie talk, isn't it? It's like when people like pour coffee over a keyboard and then it sparks, and it's like that's not how it works.
Yeah, but this is even what a torch would like go in. Right, okay, you just googled the doctor.
Destroy. Detonate PC.
Detonate, yeah.
His PC had the same thing happen that the TARDIS console did when Donna poured coffee on it.
Well, at least that didn't go the same way, to be honest.
Oh my god, I've done it again.
Oh my god, I've done it again.
Yeah. So Elton finds his photo of the Doctor at Christmas, and he looks exactly the same as he did back when Elton was a child. I assume you know this, but I wrote some of these notes down ahead of time when I thought it might have been me and Charles doing this.
Right.
Did you know that the original concept of this episode, in place of Elton, there was going to be like a female stalker?
I didn't know that until yesterday.
Okay.
And I found out, yeah, it was a female stalker, which gone. I gather you've got more notes on that.
No, I was only going to say the only reason it is basically a female stalker of the Doctor. The only reason that was changed was because Russell felt that Series 2 already had a lot of strong female characters.
Okay. Interesting choice there, Russell. But, well, there's a few things with Elton in the developmental phase. Yeah, he was originally going to be a stalker who was a woman. Then he was going to be Peter Kay.
Yes, I did know. yeah. Peter Kay was going to be Elton, except I think he thought... Was it like he thought he was kind of too similar to a character he played on like Coronation Street or something?
Street, yeah, sci-fi person.
Yeah, kind of like UFO spotter type person.
Yes.
So he wanted to be the villain.
Yeah.
Which I guess, fair enough.
And yeah, we obviously mentioned there that we see Rose, Aliens of London and the Christmas Invasion. But originally Elton, it was going to be hinted that he was all the way through old classic Who as well.
Okay.
So Russell T Davies mentions in the commentary again that originally we were going to see Elton at his birthday party. Okay. And he was going to get evacuated.
Was this before or after his mum biffed it?
Well, I'll come on to the mother in a second about what was mentioned there.
Okay.
So you haven't got to this yet. It's a Seventh Doctor story, but he was going to be evacuated from his school in Shoreditch,
right?
Which was where Remembrance of the Daleks takes place. So he's going to get evacuated.
That's like the only story of the Seventh Doctor era that people talk about.
No, which they shouldn't. It's a really good era.
I only ever hear people talk about Remembrance of the Daleks.
Remembrance is great, but season 26, that's amazing. But we'll come on to Elton's mother.
Okay, yeah.
So, are you still on your third Doctor?
Yes.
How far in are you?
Not far. Inferno is my next one.
Oh, so you're not... Oh, you're just one episode off where Elton's mother was going to die.
Okay.
So, in Terror of the Autons...
That's the first episode of Series 8?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a plot device, which is plastic daffodils, which cover people's mouths in plastic to suffocate them.
Oh, that's bleak. Okay.
And that's how Elton's mother was originally going to die. Her death in the end is just a load of gibberish, really.
Yeah, I kind of like it, though, because I like that we don't really get much of an explanation, because it implies if you're not in the Doctor's circle, then you just get caught in the aftermath. You don't get the context. Yeah,
and I'm glad, we don't... see.
I just like the ambiguity of there was an elemental shade and that's it. That's all we know.
A bit creepy, really.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I want the elemental shade story.
And, Autons twice,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was just thinking, like, what other old Doctor Who stories could have Elton been hanging around? And obviously I know you're only up to Inferno.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say because most of the Earth-based stories that I've seen so far are always in like a space station or like a scientific research lab.
Yeah.
Or I mean, there's not many. To be honest, Pertwee's era, I think Spearhead from Space is one of the first notable exceptions I can think of, other than maybe The Invasion, where there's, hey, we're on Earth and we're just in public.
That's the thing, Web of Fear as well. So yeah,
most of Web of Fear is just in a tunnel.
War Machines, maybe.
Yeah.
I got image of little Elton.
Would he have been alive then?
If he was alive for the Shoreditch incident, then which is set in '63, he would have been alive for the War Machines. So
yeah. Interesting.
We can when you watch more classic Who, we can get onto. Does Elton pop up in this story?
Yeah. Yeah, but he. this is when Elton basically meets the person who posted the photo of the Doctor on the website, which ends up being Ursula, and they're kind of talking on a park bench. I just like the fact that the photo was posted on My Invasion blog.
I didn't notice that.
I just found that funny. Elton's kind of surprised because he tells her the story of obviously his childhood home and everything, and he's surprised that she believes him, which kind of, I guess we assume he's told this story numerous times and people just think he's a bit of a crackpot.
I would.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So he meets up with Mona Myrtle at the
Yes, he does,
park
yeah.
bench.
Her voice is very weird.
I'm not...
She sounds like a child, doesn't she? For a 40-year-old woman, she sounds like
She's
a child.
40 in this.
She was, when she was in Harry Potter, she was in her 40s, I think. Yeah.
Wow. When this came... What?
So first Harry Potter she was in was Chamber of Secrets. That was 2002.
She was in a... So she's in a, like, 40s during this episode?
Yeah.
Looking good for her age, I'll be fair.
That's what she played a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Ursula introduces Elton to her friends Bliss, Bridget, and Mr. Skinner. Colin, but they call him Mr. Skinner. No one knows why.
Yeah.
And they've all heard of the Doctor, and they kind of meet up on a regular basis to discuss their findings and stuff. So, like, Mr. Skinner's kind of looking at like a whiteboard, and he's kind of like saying he thinks the Doctor is like an archetype that's passed down generation to generation or something like that. Bridget is talking about the TARDIS, and she says wherever he is, this faux police box appears.
Yeah, I was going to say that most of them images of the well, it's not the TARDIS, but they look like they were AI generated. It looks like if you type into AI, what does the TARDIS look like?
That's the thing. I think she's latched onto the fact that it's a faux police box.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when you look at it, there's that one that just looks like a column, isn't it? It's like not even wide enough to fit a person in it.
It's a post box. It's a post box TARDIS.
Yeah. At this point, they say, "Hey, maybe we should have like a collective name for each other."
Linda.
So Elton coins Linda. That's the London Investigation Detective Agency.
Yeah. So that name.
I know. I have the same note. I think.
Okay, I'll let you do the note then.
Linda was previously an acronym used on a children's TV show called Why Don't You?
Yes.
That Russell T Davies worked on previously, where Linda stood for Liverpool Investigation and Detective Agency, and he just thought, I'll have that.
Yeah. Listen to him on the commentary talk about that. It sounds like the weirdest show.
I don't know anything about the show.
No, neither do I. I just heard a bit about this episode. Have I got it noted down? Yes. So the Why Don't You gang were like facing off against another gang, the Liverpool Investigation and Detective Agency.
Okay.
And it turned out this other gang was just two kids dressed up in military uniform or something.
It's not much of a gang.
No.
That's two kids.
That's the only context of Why Don't You I've got, and I don't really know what that is.
I don't know.
Obviously, when going through the Linda thing, they mentioned Chakademus and Pliers.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a song by Chakademus and Pliers?
No.
Me neither. But I've got them by here. I can play. How long can you play without getting with? Can you play any?
You're better off just reading the titles to me.
Okay. There's one called Bam Bam.
Okay.
Twist and Shout.
Is that a cover or is that an original? Is that the same Twist and Shout like the Beatles covered?
I'm gonna put it on pause. See, I'm gonna go down to the lyrics so you don't get.
Yeah, no copyrights.
It's the Beatles cover.
Okay.
I'll play that to you after.
Okay. I'm assuming you've listened already.
Yeah.
Bad?
I'm not going to comment. I don't, you know.
Okay, you want a genuine reaction? Okay. But yeah, I guess check them out if you want to hear it.
Chakademus and Pliers.
Well, yeah, if anyone's curious. I can't play it here, but if anyone's curious, check it out.
Also, it's making a point about it being Chakademus and Pliers, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Chakademus and Pliers. So, did he just want to put in Chakademus and Pliers?
Yeah, because he goes fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't come up with Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Doctor Who fans, isn't it? He's not going to know Guns N' Roses.
We should have in 2006 or 7, I guess.
Yeah, and he likes football and beer, and
Yeah,
I'm still hung up on that. The fact these are an analogy for a Doctor Who fan.
yeah,
That's this scene as well, though, isn't it? It's like he's an archetype, and
Yeah.
what does the Doctor mean, and what shouldn't he mean?
yeah. So So while they do their things, Bliss seemingly is an artist, maybe doing sculptures or something, and she's got this weird, like, abstract little twisty statue thing, and she's like, this is a representation of what the Doctor represents, or what he should represent, or what he does represent, and what he never won't represent.
Never won't.
And everyone's just looking at it like, right, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
everybody's looking at it like it should be looked at. What are you talking about?
Yeah. But this kind of like evolves this group from just kind of sharing their stories about the Doctor and investigating and stuff into kind of being like an emotional support group almost, where they just kind of enjoy each other's company, and they kind of put their search for the Doctor on hold for a bit. Mr. Skinner writes like stories, so he's like reading that out, and everyone seems fairly invested. Bridget kind of confides in them that she lost her daughter to drugs, and she's like gone like missing or something.
We've gone from Scooby-Doo to...
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. Like, there are some moments that are genuinely quite tender and quite heartfelt.
Yeah.
And this is not played off for laughs. This is like a serious moment, which I like, but in amongst everything else in this episode does feel a bit tonally inconsistent.
I'm not sure, because a lot of this episode feels quite grown up. I'd say like the middle... yeah, I know how that sounds. So you got the first 5 minutes and you got the last 15 minutes.
Yes.
That's very not grown up. But I think the middle section is quite...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Quite hefty. That wasn't the right word.
We'll come on to hefty later. Yeah.
No.
So Bridget's lost her daughter. Bliss writes weird songs about chickens with no bones.
Yeah, did she write that, or was that a cover?
I have no idea.
Because she wants to give her lover a chicken that had no bones.
She
She likes to strip chickens. Yeah. And also, they sing... I don't actually know what the name of the song is anymore, but all that goes through my head is I got a brand new combine harvester.
So I got a brand new pair of roller skates.
It's roller skates, is it? Yeah, they're not doing the West Country version.
No.
Okay. And then back to ELO.
Yeah, so this is when Elton, he says he admits his love for ELO to the group, and then musical Linda, because Bridget plays piano, apparently.
No, Bridget doesn't play piano.
No, Bridget hammers at the keys, not even in time. Mr. Skinner's on drums.
Mr. Skinner's on drums, yeah.
Ursula's playing bass. Bliss is on guitar, and Elton's
singing,
and they're singing "Don't Let Me Down."
Yeah,
Gross.
Which when it was filmed, they had to mime. They weren't singing. The singing is 80 yards after.
Why? Why would the fact that it's meant to be a little bit crap? Why wouldn't you just record it live?
I don't know, but it is crap.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I like that song.
It's a good song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Cruise.
But Bridget is not playing that piano.
No.
It's not even in time.
No.
Yeah. But during their performance of Don't Let Me Down, the lift starts and the lights flick off. And once the lift arrives at the bottom, who steps out? It's Peter Kay.
Peter Kay. Well, that lift, it's quite a cool little reveal. That wasn't in the script. It was just the lift happened to be there, and they thought, "Ooh, we'll get him coming down."
Was it in the script? You just walk in the door.
You think? What does that look? Because there's that whole thing about lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he just open a door? It goes dark, and then
who turned the lights on?
Well, this is what I was going to say. I've got an image of Peter Kay.
If he's got alien powers, why did people not go, "Oh, that was weird"?
Yeah, nobody acknowledges that.
Or do they just have the clapper installed in their fucking base?
Yeah, but while they're singing ELO, Peter Kay's like installing a clapper in the roof.
Yeah, just for the dramatic reveal, yeah. But yeah, Peter Kay steps off as Victor Kennedy. This is where, just over his right shoulder, you can see a crew member just chilling in the back.
Yeah, on his left. That's who turned the lights on and off for him.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the Abzorbaloff sister.
Yeah. If you haven't noticed that, I implore you, it's when he goes, lights, and he kind of flicks his hands out and the lights come on. And when the camera cuts back to him, over his right shoulder, you can just see this woman standing in the background.
I'm going to headcanon it, because you know when the Abzorbaloff turns off later and he's got some like faces already in him.
Oh, yeah.
That was his first victim, I think. Is a light assistant.
Oh, no. Oh, man, so cruel. So Victor Kennedy appears to be like a wealthy man. He comes down with a cane and a hat.
What a character.
He's dressed like the Monopoly man.
Yeah.
But he's like an albino with like a goatee.
Yeah.
And he says he can't touch people because he's got a skin condition called eczema.
Wasn't in the script. That was Peter Kay.
Oh, was it?
So eczema was, but he made the joke of eczema.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's the one thing Russell T Davies didn't write. And, you know, in the commentary, Russell's like, that's the one thing they mainly laughed at. And I didn't write it.
It is funny.
It is funny. Eczema.
But that thing for me is like, as a kid, I always assumed when he said eczema, he was just trying to make up a condition.
But yeah, no, I think...
But if in the script it was originally just eczema, was it just implied that he didn't know what eczema was? Or he was trying to imply that he had a severe version of eczema?
I take it as he's come down to Earth, gone, I can't let anybody touch me. What are these illnesses that, you know, which affects the skin? And he's misread eczema. And he's just gone, that says eczema, because he's never heard it said before.
Yeah, it does look like eczema written down.
So, you know,
yeah,
clever.
Yeah. Peter Kay is funny.
I love Peter Kay. I saw him last October, actually.
Good.
Yeah. He doesn't look like he did in this episode, let's say that.
The last thing I saw him in, I think, was when he did that car share.
Car share was good.
Yeah. But yeah, he's got eczema, so he can't be touched. He blisters to the touch. So he plays a video for the group of the Doctor and Rose getting into the TARDIS. The video seems to like glitch, and he says the video cuts out here, but the audio keeps going, and you hear the TARDIS dematerialize, which seems to affect Elton more than everyone else. So this is when Victor says, like, you've heard that before, haven't you? And he tells the story again of his childhood.
Yeah, didn't he say he got this footage from the Torchwood database or something?
No, that's when he gives them the homework.
Right, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so he wants to find the Doctor as well. So he kind of like takes over Linda as like leader, and he gives all the members like homework, and he basically he says like, you've all gotten complacent, you need to start working again.
Yeah.
So he's got like a bunch of dossiers. He says these are the Torchwood files, and he gives them all out. As they're all leaving, he asks Bliss if he can have a word in private.
I was just going to mention... No, I wasn't. Oh, yeah, I was actually going to mention, where does his office come from? Like, because they're all...
the desk and everything.
You mentioned, like, he's sitting like an examiner and stuff like that.
Yeah, so later on when they come back... it's kind of like he's sat at like a desk, like an examiner, and everyone else is like in the exam, not talking, just writing down with pencil. Yeah, I don't know whether...
Did he move the desk in? Do you think he got Linda to set everything up for him? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
The Abzorbaloff
was it already there? I mean, there was
a
a piano in there.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Where did that come from?
I'm going to assume like Bliss had her own guitar and Ursula had her own bass. I don't know where the grand piano came from.
I don't know where the grand piano came from. On his desk, he's got like, you know, that psychology head of like a cast to someone's head.
Yeah.
Sand timers. What are the sand timers for?
It's like they're in an exam. That's what I mean. It's weird. So he asked to have a word with Bliss in private. And as they're leaving, you just hear a scream that no one else seems to hear, but the audience hear it. Elton manages to track down the Doctor. I say Elton. Mr. Skinner comes in and says like, "Oh, report of a new police box that wasn't there like not long ago." So Elton goes, and this is when we essentially get that bit from the intro where he finds the TARDIS and bumps into the Hoyks, and he runs away, all scared. When he tells the story of the fact that he ran away to everyone, Victor's not happy.
No.
What did he just call him stupid?
Stupid little man.
Stupid little man,
Something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
And he like goes to hit Elton. He goes to like backhand him. And
that would have ruined his plans right away. That
yeah. Ursula jumps up and like defends him. Oh no, because Elton says like, you can't hit me because you've got the eczema. And he says, oh, I can hit you with this. And he pulls out his cane. And then Ursula says like, if you hit him with that, you get a hell of a smack from me.
Yeah.
And a good kick.
And a good kick.
Yeah. Ursula most likely to fight back.
Yeah.
So at this point, he retreats and he basically says, all right, change of plan. We're going to look for Rose.
Yes.
He's got this photo of Rose, which he hands out to everyone, which supposedly was taken as she entered Downing Street. But
so there's a few. And I made a note, first of all, like, oh, this is nice that, you know, so there's the ones when she's going into Downing Street, which would actually have been photos, so it would have been sourced. And I did make a note, it's nice that they're not promotional images.
Stock photos again. Yeah.
War games in colour.
Or what was the other one? Is it Let's Kill Hitler?
Let's Kill Hitler, where it's
with
just
the holograms.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that. I hate that trope so much.
TARDIS PNG.
TARDIS PNG from what is it? Is it Dinosaurs in a Spaceship?
Yeah, with on the postcard.
Yeah. It's not even the right TARDIS.
I don't want to be rude, but come on, put a little bit more effort in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that photo that he gives out doesn't make sense.
In what way?
Well, it's her. It's obviously her from Rose looking back when the TARDIS disappears, isn't it?
Yeah, because she's wearing the... Yeah, it's implied to be a shot from Aliens of London, but she's wearing the jumper jacket thing that she's wearing in Rose.
Yeah, and then the TARDIS is in the background. She's looking over.
Yeah.
Doesn't make much sense, that photo. But at least it's not...
But at least there was an effort made for continuity. Do you know what I mean? Like continuity-wise, you'd be like, hold on, that's not what she was wearing in that episode, blah, blah, blah. Because she's just in a T-shirt, I think, isn't she?
In what one?
In Aliens of London.
She's got that white jacket on, hasn't she?
With the pink on it.
Oh.
The one from Rose.
She might do. But the actual shot of her looking back is...
Yes, yeah. That's what I mean. So if you're really sad, like us apparently, and you notice that, then... Yeah, shame on us, I guess.
But also, they have gone to the effort of taking that and putting the TARDIS in the background.
Yeah, they did go to the effort of actually explaining this is a photo from when she entered Downing Street, where you're like, yeah, there would be photos taken of that moment.
They thought it through.
Yeah, so...
Nice one, guys. Nice continuity there.
Yeah. So now they've all got photos of Rose, and we get this moment where they're like, right, we're going to have to scour London, capital of England, massive city, however many million people, to find that one girl in 10 million or whatever. And then and then it cuts to this old lady going, oh, that's Rose Tyler. She lives down there.
Here's a quiz question for you. What's that woman's name?
Don't know.
It's Mrs. Croot.
Is that Billy Croot's mum?
Oh,
it was Billy Crew, wasn't it?
It's Billy Crew, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she's played by Bella Emberg, who was famously like the foil to Benny Hill. So she makes an appearance, and she appeared in a few whole Doctor Who episodes.
Oh, that's nice. I like it when actors from like the classic series come back to the new series.
Yeah,
because you get the impression all the time Doctor Who, in the general public, other than this era of the show where it was quite popular, Doctor Who's always kind of been seen as a bit of a lame thing. Do you know what I mean? So I do wonder how many people appear in it and then kind of regret that they were in it. I know Peter Kay does.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. Well, he said he loved filming it, to be fair, but he
didn't like the result.
No.
Yeah. But it's nice when people appear in the show and then they're clearly happy to come back and do it again.
There's a lot. I mean, that's a whole avenue to go down, like who appeared in old Who that plays a different role in new Who. So yeah, she's in it, and interestingly enough, she was supposed to be in The Runaway Bride.
Oh really?
So there was a scene in The Runaway Bride where she was going to help the Doctor and like point out something again.
Surprised she wasn't one of the old women in End of Time on the bus.
Oh, that would have been good. I don't know if she was... I don't know when she passed away, basically. So
I mean, End of Time was only like 2 years after this.
Yeah.
3 years after this.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity. But, you know, she got cut from The Runaway Bride, so, you know.
yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Tangent.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, that's Rose Tyler. She lives down there. Mum's Jackie Tyler. Nice family. Quite bit odd. And then just walks away. Like, Elton doesn't say thank you or anything. She just goes, bit odd, and just walks away. I find that very funny. So Elton goes to the end of the road and he sees Jackie Tyler. I don't know how he knows what she looks like.
Good point.
But he sees Jackie Tyler walking into a laundromat.
I never thought about the fact that how does he know what Jackie Tyler looks like? Oh, no. There's the bit where he walks towards the laundrette and there's the woman outside the laundrette. Goes,
yeah.
Jackie.
Yeah, they mention Rose, don't they? I swear, do they mention
I don't know
Rose?
if they might do, but I definitely know she calls her Jackie.
Yeah, okay.
But it could be any Jackie. Jackie Collins.
Lawrence Chav. I don't know.
Wow.
She did say lives down there as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Take it with a pinch of salt. So Elton goes into the laundromat and he's got this like 5-stage plan that Victor Kennedy gave him. So step 1, engage your target. Find an excuse to start a conversation. And Jackie turns to him and says, "Excuse me, you haven't got a quid for 250s, have you?" So he's like, yeah, I do. And they exchange the coins. And he's like, stage 2. What is it like? Get on first name terms. And then she just turns around and goes, "My name's Jackie, by the way."
I love how she's doing it. Yeah.
she basically just does all the work for him.
That laundrette scene is just really well written. And
yeah. Is it stage 3? Ingratiate yourself with a joke or humorous device. And then she's like, "Oh, I've only met you 2 minutes ago and I'm flashing my knickers."
And he's incredibly awkward. He's not saying anything.
Yeah, he's just kind of like smart. Well, to be fair, when she introduced himself, he says his name's Elton. And she goes, "Oh, you don't meet many Eltons, do you? Except the obvious."
When has Jackie ever met Elton John? Because that's what they're going for here, isn't it? Like,
Is it? Is that what they're going for?
I don't know. It just sounds like you don't meet many Eltons, do you? So by that process of, she's saying you don't meet many Eltons except Elton John. You don't meet Elton John.
I see what you mean. Okay.
That's an interesting adventure, Jackie Tyler.
Yeah.
Big finish. Jackie Tyler and Elton John.
Oh, God, they will as well. They will. Stage 4, get yourself into her household. Sounds sus. And she basically says her washer's knackered. So we cut to him in her flat fixing the washing machine. He says, "Machine's fine, it's just a fuse that went. It's all fixed now."
Interestingly, in that laundrette scene, there's a bit cut there as well.
Right.
I don't think this was filmed, but it was in the script. It was Elton said, "Where's Rose's dad?" basically.
Oh.
And Jackie said he's he's not around. And Elton says, "Better off without him," then, like implying that he thinks
like divorce or something.
Yeah.
Or split.
Or ran away. And Jackie says, "That's what I said." So she's not indicating that.
Oh.
She's not going to say that he's dead, basically.
For a very forthcoming person, she's not that forthcoming.
I get that, but I think Russell puts it this way.
It's a bit close to home, isn't it?
It's close to home, and she's. How can I use? What's the right word here? She's trying to invite a man home.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't want to use the sympathy thing of her husband dying to do that, essentially, which would have been quite nice, but
that's an interesting character trait.
Yeah,
because it shows for someone that we generally associate as being, I know it sounds harsh, but a bit useless. It shows that she's actually like got a sense of like individuality and like pride.
Well, that's a good thing about this whole episode, really. I think is Jackie Tyler.
Because I know Russell gave Jackie like a more prominent role in this episode, because he knew obviously she was leaving at the end of series 2 with Rose, and he's basically like, if this is my only chance to really give her more to do. Yeah. And I know this episode was also the last time that the Tyler flat was used before it was demolished.
Oh, right. I didn't know that. So, well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. When they're at the flat, Elton, obviously, he's trying to learn about Rose, and the doctor, but he's trying to play it cool. So he's looking at the photos of Rose, and they kind of get talking about her. He asks where she is. Jackie says she's gone traveling, and she's on her own now. Elton tries to like play it cool. He's like, who's she traveling with? Like, just friends? Or he's like, yeah, just friends. So Jackie kind of says she's on her own now. It's a bit sad. I like Jackie in this episode because not only is she like, there are bits where she's being funny and everything, but it's like you really do feel for her because I know it comes up in Aliens of London when Rose like disappears for a year and stuff, but you really get that sense of what happens to Jackie when Rose leaves.
Oh yeah, and I think
bit at the end of Aliens of London, World War III, sorry, when Rose says like, 10 seconds would have passed, and they go, and then she counts 10 seconds and just kind of just walks away.
It's horrible.
That's, I mean, this is probably the moment, like you were talking about earlier, with this feeling like a bit grown up. I feel like this is kind of like those sequences where I'm like, definitely.
I mean, I'm trying to think of so this is the only like parent figure that really suffers. If I'm trying to remember now,
That suffers.
well,
I
not
don't know.
Brian obviously loses his son, but like, you know,
I mean, Francine Smith doesn't have a great time
Oh.
in Valiant.
yeah, okay. I mean, before we get there, I mean, like, with her daughter being away and stuff. Because so for like in series 3, Martha's been gone 12 hours or something, isn't it?
Yeah, and she does go home a few times.
She goes home a few times, and you don't really see her mother being left behind.
And to be honest, after Russell's era, we don't really get a lot of parental figures because like Amy's parents don't exist until the Big Bang, in which case they get they come back and then they might as well have disappeared again.
Never seen again.
Clara's parents.
Well, her mother gets killed, and I think there's a fan theory that she gets killed in that Auton attack when the Autons come to life.
Oh,
because I think you see on a grave that it was like 2005, so there's a theory.
right.
Lots of Auton murdering going on today. You forgot about Brian. Rory's dad, which he doesn't exist till series 7.
Yeah. And then Bill's mother is dead. Father's not in the picture. She's with a foster mum.
I think so.
Yaz has parents that we see once.
Arachnids in the UK. Oh, we see a bit in
Demons of the Punjab.
Demons. But they don't really seem to.
Yeah.
Are they in Can You Hear Me?
I can't remember. By the way, after Russell's first era, parental figures just seem to kind of fly out the window, which is something. It's interesting now, isn't it? Looking at season 1, and Ruby Sunday's mother is actually a character.
Yeah, no, and you know, yeah, like a lot happens with her. 'Cause she's in 4 of the 8
Yeah, well,
episodes?
obviously she was in Church on Ruby Road. She's in Space Babies, I think.
At the end.
At the end, yeah. She's obviously in 73 Yards.
Mm-hmm.
She's in that flashback in... I can't remember if it's Empire of Death or if it's in...
Well, she's in Legend of Ruby Sunday for definite.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I couldn't remember which one of that 2-parter it was.
And then she gets dusted at the start of Empire of Death and
yes,
is left.
Yeah, so she's in it quite a bit.
And I'm sure she'll be in season 2.
Yeah. So it's nice that Russell actually takes the time to focus on the family and not just pretending that this character is. Again, I know I say it all the time. I'm kind of sick of saying it, if I'm honest. But like Moffat's era being a lot more fairy tale than Russell's era, and it is very much like, once upon a time there was a girl, has no parents, don't worry about it, and it's just like moving on.
Yeah, there are consequences in Stephen Moffat's era, but they're not home-based consequences, I guess.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Jackie Tyler.
Yeah, more specifically.
Being left behind.
Yeah. So obviously Elton goes back to the flat quite a few times to do various like bits and bobs. He says like, the flat seemed to be cursed with the amount of things that were going wrong. Fuses going all the time.
So obviously it's implied that Jackie's breaking stuff on purpose.
Yeah, just to get him in there.
Great.
Yeah. Elton's brought this evidence back to Linda. And obviously Victor Kennedy. He says like, I love the bit with Jackie where he's like saying like, step 1, do this, step 2, do that, and she's doing it for him. I think the fact that he then here says like, oh yeah, I had to work really hard to get it, it's kind of takes the humor out of the joke a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
I feel like it's explaining the joke, but
yeah.
But yeah, he says like she keeps everything close to her chest, and Ursula says quite a chest.
This is where, when we spoke in the Christmas Invasion, we talked about how Russell's innuendos seem to be quite clever.
That's not an innuendo.
No, that's not. This is going to come up later, I think.
Okay.
Obviously. I guess this also means, I think, where it's a bit less childish, and, you know, it's one of them jokes where you go, oh, that's an interesting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have expected that.
What?
I was trying to think of a similar analogy in Moffat's era.
Okay.
And so Ursula in Russell T Davies, that's a hell of a chest.
Yeah.
In Moffat's era, I can just imagine her looking at the photo, big boobies.
Yeah, I know. For a very clever writer, Moffat, like, he really dumbs down his humor a bit, doesn't he?
Sometimes it's very clever. But sometimes it is
just have Ursula like go massive like cartoon eyes going.
Oh God.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but we'll come on to worse innuendo later.
Yeah. So after Elton kind of shows the evidence, Kennedy's like, "Oh, great job," all that stuff, and he sends him off to do some more work, I guess. But he wants to talk to Bridget in the meantime, have a word. Bridget's like, "Oh, I'm getting a lift with Mr. Skinner," and he says, "Oh, it's all right, I'll take you where you're going." So anyway, Bridget stays behind.
What was it? Why did she stay behind? Was it?
I can't remember.
Something to do with a daughter, maybe, or
maybe I don't know. I can't remember.
Because if it's not a daughter,
I think I was writing a note when it happened on screen,
right,
so
okay.
I missed it.
If it's not a daughter, she's not that interested in Mr. Skinner, is she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh well, no, saying that, that's completely wrong. Because at the end, they're calling for each other over the other side of the body.
Yeah. So they leave, leaving Bridget behind, and she screams. So again, I'll say first time she screams, but we hear her scream. Back at Jackie's flat, Elton's over there again. She's clearly trying to seduce him.
She's wooing him.
Yeah, like it's not just like calling him over to fix some stuff anymore. She's all dolled up. She's got her makeup on. She brings out a glass of wine.
Put some El Divo on. Is it El Divo or Il Divo?
Pass.
Divo. He put some Divo on.
Yeah. Yeah. She says like, "Oh, the French know how to do things, don't they?" She like bumps into him and like spills the wine on him, and she's like, "Oh no, your shirt's ruined." He's like, "No, it's fine. It's only a drop." And then she just like throws the entire glass of wine on his shirt. He goes, "Oops,
Nice
ruined."
and discreet. Yeah.
Yeah. So she tells him to go to the bathroom and to, I don't know, wash up or get changed or whatever. I don't know.
Wash up.
Yeah, that's what people say, right?
What's he? Oh, the wine. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
So he goes in and he's like brushing his teeth. He uses mouthwash. I don't know why you use mouthwash after brushing your teeth, because that just washes away the toothpaste, but okay.
Good point.
He sprays his pits with some deodorant.
Yeah, and then he finally figures out what the perfect step 5 is.
Yeah. You say it's hot, it's about to get hotter. And he steps out shirtless to find that Jackie's on the phone. She's just come off the phone with Rose, and it's kind of brought her to her senses a little bit. And I think she feels quite, I don't know, ashamed, maybe. Is that the right word?
What
About having, like, doing what she did to Elton.
Okay, she shouldn't, if he's showing obvious signs of not wanting her to come on to him, fair enough, I get that.
Yeah.
But that's also quite a sad bit, really. It's like her daughter phones and she can't, she stops flirting immediately, and she's, doesn't want anything to do with it. And it's quite sad that she drops everything for her daughter once she's phoned, and it kind of ruins her day.
Yeah, I think it's that thing of, because Rose disappears for, as far as Jackie's concerned, don't know how long. I mean, she could be back in 10 minutes, she could be back in 10 years, you never know. It's like when Rose disappears, Jackie is her own person, and then she's got to find, oh my God, I'm alone. I need to find someone. A person. I need to find someone. But then as soon as Rose calls, it's like Jackie's reminded that she's a mother again.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, looking at Elton standing there, like topless, it's kind of like, what am I doing?
Which is horrible, because that means you can't ever move on.
Yeah. So and that's that thing of knowing that Rose can just come and go as often as she pleases. The doctor's kind of a douche as well, by the way. Because when the doctor takes you back, he could take you back like, a day later or something.
Yeah.
Why do you always have to leave it like weeks or months?
Yeah, but I get that. But also, you've got...
How else does the show keep up with our timeline?
Yeah, Rose will just age according to Jackie really quickly then. So, I think that's a good part about the series too. You can see it's all starting to come. It needs to end, basically, them too.
Yeah. And this is kind of a through line through a lot of companions, isn't it? That like, for all the good things and all the like amazing things you see with the Doctor and all the the new ways he gets you to look at life, it, like Elton says at the end of this episode, it is kind of like touching something that you shouldn't, and it will eventually come back to get you.
There's a quote in one episode. It's like, getting too close to the Doctor is like getting too close to fire or something. I think it's Sontaran strategy, and Martha says it. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't River Song say something similar as well in The Husband's a River Song?
You can't love a monument or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Years away you are from that one.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she clearly feels a bit ashamed. She says, like, I'm sorry, and she tells him to put his shirt back on. Elton kind of, I think he feels a bit guilty as well, because he knows that deep down he loves Ursula, so whatever he was about to do with Jackie,
It's going to be for completely the wrong... It was almost taking advantage of her in a way as well. Yeah.
So they both kind of come to their senses a bit, and Elton says, right, do you know what? I'm going to go down. I'm going to go to the local takeaway, get a pizza, come back. We'll watch some TV too loud, annoy the neighbours.
Annoy the neighbours, yeah. Well, I don't know why I made a note on this. It's a bit of a weird thing to make a note of, but he says he's not even going to ask about Rose, you know.
Yeah.
You already did.
Yeah, I know. I assume he meant regarding the phone call she just had.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Not just in general.
That's all he's been talking about.
Yeah. So he goes to get the pizza.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, Jackie's outside with his coat. This scene's
horrible. Like,
yeah.
The day goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, well, it's really sad as well, because by now they've both come to their senses, and you realise all that kind of cringe awkwardness isn't there anymore, and you're actually going to see this really nice friendship.
Yeah.
And then this happens, and I mean, there is one thing that did make me laugh, which is she said, he's such a nice man. For once in my life, I thought I'll pay.
Have you never coughed up before, Jackie?
Yeah, I know. Jackie never bought dinner before. But yeah, she says she was going to slip a tenner in his pocket, and she finds a photo of Rose in his jacket.
You must pay for some things, because like,
well, she's on her own.
Rodrigo owed her a favour. So
yeah, Billy Crew before that. Yeah.
Oh, you remember them all now from that quiz?
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah. The quiz I did with Charles. Everything. It's all in there now.
It's all in there, locked in there.
5.5/Apple/26. It's all in there now.
Ridiculous.
It's all in there now, baby.
Well, I've got another quiz later, and we'll see.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Yeah. It's very tenuously linked to this.
Yeah. So, she says she found a photo of Rose. Elton says, no, it's not what you think. I wasn't being pervy or anything.
Quite a grown-up thing to say, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is a kid's show. This is quite heavy-hitting stuff in this bit.
You get this really like heartbreaking conversation where Jackie Missy says that he says, I wasn't after her, I was after the doctor. And Jackie says, of course, because no one's ever interested in me. And she says, you know, you don't know what it's like being left on your own all the time, never knowing when they're coming back. But I tell you what, I will protect the both of them until the end of my life.
Character development.
Yeah.
I mean, she wanted to
like,
kill him in the first time she met him.
Yeah, no, stitch this, mate.
Maybe not the first time she met him. She didn't want to kill him.
No, she definitely wanted to do something else the first time. But development. I love Jackie as a character, because you think of her as, like I said earlier, being a bit, I don't know, maybe a bit dumb, bit shallow sometimes, but it's when you get these moments where she's not being used for comedic relief where you realise she's actually quite a nuanced character, and she goes through a lot. For someone who isn't often a part of the active adventure, but still is like affected nonetheless.
Series 2 for Jackie is just...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
She gets turned into a Cyberman. Obviously not
different Jackie.
Different Jackie.
Yeah.
Then obviously all this horrible stuff with Elton, and the thing I realised is you don't get. What are you laughing at?
I was just thinking next time we see her, the doctor's going to say she was aged by the time vortex.
Well, that's not very nice either. But there's no bit in this episode where they go back to Jackie where you see like Rose comforting her or anything. I think that it could have done with a scene at the end that Rose is comforting her. But no, you don't see her now until Army of Ghosts when
she'll have to comfort Rose again.
She'll have to comfort Rose. And, you know, she's talking about a dead dad. And
well, this is the thing. Rose is a very interesting character. And I know people have a lot of nostalgia for Rose, and that's why when people say, like, who's your favourite companion? A lot of people would say Rose. Rose is an awful person. You can argue a lot of it's down to ignorance of youth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And being like, do you know what I mean? When you're 19 years old and you get swept up by this handsome man who can take you anywhere and he's like the best thing ever, of course, do you know what I mean? It happens with teenagers in real life. You know, you stop talking to your parents as much and you start associating with friends and partners and stuff, whatever. I get it.
There's the consequences
the
of
way she treats Mickey,
falling in
the
love.
way she treats Jackie,
Yeah.
and the way that she basically acts as if the universe is just her and the Doctor, and the universe is like their playground.
They both do that. Well,
They do.
he playing along with it, I think, school reunion, a lot of Series 2 is about the consequences of them two being together, I think.
It's kind of similar to Series 9, I think.
Yeah. Series 9 is that, but obviously to a bit more of an extreme.
Yes.
Whereas
It's a bit less subtle in that series.
Yeah. I still like where it goes, it can't work out. But, then you actually think down to Journey's End. In some way, she gets what she wants.
I guess.
She doesn't get the real thing or the genuine article, but she does get...
No, she kind of gets the best case scenario, though.
Yeah, she gets the Doctor that,
that will live for as long as she will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rose is a bad person. Changed my mind.
And Series 2, 10th Doctor is...
10th Doctor in general is.
Oh, yeah, actually, Series 3, 10th Doctor's not that great either.
And Series 4.
What does he do wrong in Series 4?
Well, do you count the specials to Series 4?
Let's just do the series. Up until the end of Planet of the Dead. He's fine. He's fine in Series 4, is he? Does he do anything wrong?
Probably. I mean, Fires of Pompeii, he nearly...
Anyway, he kills...
everyone. Yeah.
He doesn't do anything bad to his companion as such. I'm saying that now.
No, him and Donna have a great relationship.
Yeah. Bad things happen to her, but he's not, ruining her family's life and,
Well, tell that to Sylvia and the Star Beast.
Oh.
Anyway.
David Tennant's doctors are dicks.
Yes. So, yeah, Jackie says that she's going to protect both of them until the end of her life, and she tells him to leave, and she basically throws his coat back and tells him to go away.
I could be wrong, but, and yes, I was paying attention to this very dramatic moment, and but I was also trying to work out, is the wine stain still on Elton's shirt?
Well, probably.
I couldn't see it.
Unless he wore another shirt. Maybe on Howard's shirts are still hanging out.
Howard's shirts. Yeah, she throws his coat up and like an orange bursts in his pocket or something.
Yeah. Oh no, my Satsuma.
Actually, no, thinking back to the Christmas
and there's a
invasion.
Clementine.
You say what happened to the Sycorax leader. Wouldn't it be amazing if he landed in an Elton's house?
That shot with the window smash. Instead, it's just the Sycorax leader falls through the ceiling.
That'd be great.
Oh God. Yeah. So back at the underground base, whatever you want to call it, Elton basically tells Victor that he's ruined Linda.
Linda HQ.
Linda HQ, yeah. He says, this is good. We were all friends. We had a laugh, and then you came in and you ruined it. Basically says Bliss stopped coming. Even Bridget doesn't show up anymore. He basically says, we're leaving. You coming, Mr. Skinner? He invites Ursula out to a Chinese.
But not Mr. Skinner. He makes that quite clear.
Yeah. Mr. Skinner, are you coming? Not to the Chinese, if you don't mind, but just kind of walking out. He's like, I most certainly am. And they go to make this big dramatic exit, but Victor Kennedy says to Mr. Skinner, hey, I think I have Bridget's phone number. I can help you find her. So, yeah, Elton and Ursula leave and Mr. Skinner stays behind, and we hear another scream. And
this is when the episode stops being grown up.
Yeah. So Ursula says she forgot her phone. Solomon says, rightfully, so much for the big exit.
Yeah.
So they turn around and they go back down. They find Mr. Skinner's not there. They ask where he is. Mr. Kennedy says, he's gone to the toilet. Elton says, we don't have toilets. We have to go to the pub around the corner.
That's where he's gone then.
That's where he's gone then. Yeah. Ursula says, Mr. Kennedy, what's happened to your hands?
He's reading an interesting newspaper, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what's on there?
I do.
It's the first...
It's the Daily Telegraph.
Do you know what the headline says?
I do.
Okay. It's the first mention of...
Mr. Saxon?
A certain Mr. Saxon.
Yeah.
61% ahead in the polls.
As far as I'm aware, this is the only episode to have a reference to each 4...
All of them.
Series arcs.
Yeah.
So he mentions the Bad Wolf virus.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously says the Torchwood Files.
Mm-hmm.
Saxon's on there, and obviously him being from Clom, being one of the missing planets from Series 4. So,
yeah.
That's kind of a noteworthy thing with this episode.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And it's a weird...
What other series
I wonder
arcs?
if there's actually a thing, because you always assume like Bad Wolf is series 1, Torchwood series 2, but obviously we know that Bad Wolf was referenced in series 1
Yeah.
in The Weakest Link, and now we know Mr. Saxon was referenced in series 2. I wonder if the next series arc is always hinted at in the previous one. I wonder if there's anything in series 3 about a missing planet, or like bees disappearing or something. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he... once they peek over, they realize that Victor has transformed into a big green thing.
The genuine article.
The genuine article. Yeah, his accent's gone very northern.
Which was... Peter Kay was not sure, like, what to do. Should he use his own accent or shouldn't he? So and he ended up, doing northern for
the Abzorbaloff, but...
not Victor Kennedy. Interesting choice.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it was ultimately necessary, just because when he's the Abzorbaloff, they kind of stack the vocal layers, so it sounds like when he's talking, it sounds like 2 or 3 people talking at the same time. I think that was enough. I don't think the accent needed to change.
I think the one thing they mentioned in the commentary when they mentioned like why he chose that accent, it's if you were to do this in like RP, like Shakespeare Company, imagine saying like, "Oh yes, I'm from the planet Clom." It does work a lot better if you are Clom.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had a Northern Doctor, why can't you have a Northern Monster, I guess?
He's very northern.
Very Northern. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, you mean Eccleston? I thought you were talking about Tennant.
Oh, no.
I just had that click in my head. I was like, I thought you were making a jab at him being Scottish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the green creature he's revealed that he's absorbed Mr. Kennedy, and you can see his face on his belly. Bridget has been absorbed, and her face is on his back. Elton asks where Bliss is.
He's on his bottom.
Yeah, he's on his ass. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, what do you think of the design of the Abzorbaloff? Because
I mean, obviously designed by a child.
Yeah.
I think in general it's okay. For me, it's the hair, bit much.
You don't like the mohawk?
It's long as well. It's not a short mohawk. It goes halfway down his back. Yeah. And also
the pants.
The loincloth.
Yeah. That's an interesting one.
Saying that, would you give him trousers?
Yeah. And, they mentioned later he's a bit Slitheen. And
yeah.
I don't want to link it too much.
Naked.
Yeah. And
I showed you that photo, didn't I, from Aliens of London?
Wow. Still haunts me. I don't want to see that. I won't say what that is, but I don't want to see that. Yeah, you're right. It was designed by... Ooh. We're talking about the Abzorbaloff.
You just turned into the kid that designed it.
Yeah. It was designed by, I think... Did I write his name down? I think his first name is William, for a Blue Peter competition.
Yes.
And obviously takes... Russell T Davies takes him onto the set to see his creation.
Yes.
And his first comments were, "Oh, he's supposed to be as big as a double-decker bus." And there's just Peter Kay sitting there. He has so it sounded like he was quite disappointed.
I've heard conflicting statements on this.
I've heard he was disappointed initially, but in recent years he's come out and said he's actually quite happy with it.
I heard Phil Collinson said that he was disappointed with it.
Yeah.
But in it was an interview or a documentary or something, the kid whose name I don't know, William something, said that no, he was just quite happy to see his creation on screen.
Well, yeah, you would be, I think.
So, yeah, I don't know. Conflicting statements, could be a bit of both. Like you said, maybe he was disappointed at first and then came around to it. That would be something cool though, wouldn't it? Like, even though it's an episode that's not really held in high regard, if you won a competition at like 6-7 years old and then the thing that you drew like was on screen, like that would be cool. Like even now as like, someone who's 20, 30, 40 years old or whatever, do you know what I mean? Looking back and being like, hey, I did that.
I made Peter Kay run around Cardiff looking like that.
Yeah. And have you actually seen the drawing? Like, it looks pretty much...
It's got lots of faces on there. And I think they mentioned that they didn't really see how little the people were in the drawing to indicate the height. William Grantham, that's his name.
Yeah.
And I think he recently did that. It's called Who and Peter.
Okay.
which is, like Blue Peter and Doctor Who crossovers.
Yeah.
Interesting. Can you name any other competitions that Blue Peter did for the new series of Doctor Who?
The only thing I think, around this era, I know that one of the Cybermen in Rise of the Cybermen is played by the host of Blue Peter, because he was on set at the time.
No, am I thinking of totally Doctor Who or Blue Peter? But yes, I think that rings a bell.
Yeah, that's the only thing that comes to my head.
Yeah. So Series 3, there was a competition as well.
Okay.
Crete in Utopia.
Which one's Crete?
The boy, the child.
The skies are made of diamonds, that one.
Yeah, the guy who gets doing it.
Yeah.
That's a Blue Peter winner.
Is
the competition was you can be on your own Doctor Who
Oh, cool.
episode. Not your own, but on a Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
Was there any others?
Kid's quite good, considering it's not a child actor.
Yeah. The Doctor's wife, the Junkyard TARDIS, is designed by a child.
Really?
Due to Blue Peter. And the last one that there's a few more, but the one that I've mentioned is the Blue Peter one, Going for Gold. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I don't think so.
It's they do like a short Doctor Who for the Olympics, basically.
Oh, Good as Gold.
Good as Gold, that's it. Yeah.
I have seen that. It's not good.
It's by kids, so I'll allow it.
It's bad, though. It's bad.
I feel bad saying that kids' stuff is bad, but...
They defeat a weeping angel with the power of the Olympics.
Yes. Woo! I will call this bad, though. Not necessarily the design, but the use of it. In Deep Breath,
Yes.
they all have them... The Paternoster gang have the sonic instruments.
Yeah.
So you've got one which Madame Vastra presses that locks the carriage.
Yes. You look like you're about to be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't really see it, but that pin was designed by a Blue Peter
Right.
person.
Okay. Child.
Yeah. And Strax is... he looks in Clara's brain and he can see...
yeah. His little X-ray thing. Yeah.
Where she's performing athletics or something.
Yeah. Some kind of sport with sweaty men. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Stephen. That, and there was something that Jenny had as well. So, yeah, and I think there was a recent thing as well for the 60th, but I don't really know.
Cool.
But yeah.
I like the relationship between Doctor Who and Blue Peter.
Well, it's one of the only reasons that we have the actual footage of the first regeneration.
That's true. Yeah.
So, I can take the Abzorbaloff, I can take that if we still manage to keep the original footage. So, yeah, it's good.
So this is when Elton actually coins the term Abzorbaloff. He's like an absorber thing, an absorbathon, an Abzorbaloff. Yes, I like that.
Yes, I like that. Yeah.
The Abzorbaloff basically wants to find the Doctor because he says everyone tastes so sweet. And he said, imagine how sweet the Doctor will taste. Okay.
Dear. Yeah,
I don't know why he thinks the Doctor will taste sweet. Is there the sweeter the taste is equal to the intelligence, or so? Is that a thing?
I've never really absorbed anyone, so I don't know.
Yeah, I want to know why he thinks the Doctor's going to be particularly sweet, because there's not much of him. Do you know what I mean? He's quite a skinny guy.
He's yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, don't know. Either way, Ursula grabs the Abzorbaloff's cane and threatens to beat him with it unless he turns everyone back to normal. He kind of begs for mercy. Oh, don't hit me, I'm such a...
That's Scottish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, don't hurt me, I'm such a big and clumsy beast.
Yeah. I'm such a clumsy beast.
What?
Yeah, I did go Scottish.
Yeah.
Such a clumsy beast.
Aye.
Yeah. At this point, Ursula kind of hesitates a bit, and and the Abzorbaloff just grabs her, and absorbs her. Just one touch, that's all it takes.
Yeah, and then she goes flying up his arm.
Yeah, honestly, I'd say in general, this scene is horrifying, and even as a kid, it kind of affected me. I think, despite the tone of the episode being quite silly sometimes, the Abzorbaloff is one of the scariest creatures in Doctor Who. I will fight that point to the death. However, yeah, that shot of her because in the beginning it's kind of like a practical effect at first with the absorbing,
shrinking.
Yeah, but then as soon as you get that shot where she goes whoop and just sucks into his palm,
Yeah, on the scariness thing, I think I think it grosses me out, the Abzorbaloff, the way it looks. The acting is less.
I don't know. Even the way he says like that just one touch, that's all it takes.
He does revel in it, doesn't he? Yeah. And there's that,
it's horrible. It's like that thing with the flood in Waters of Mars. You know, like just one drop. That's all it needs. It's that thing of like, it's not about getting overwhelmed. It's like one touch and that's it.
yeah, I think the thing that got me is like I was freaked out by the Abzorbaloff. It sounds weird saying that, but I was. It's the fact that you're absorbed and then you have to stay in the body until
Well, that's the thing, because if you think about it, the concept of one touch and that's all it takes is the same as like the empty child.
Yeah,
It's the same thing, but this always, even as a kid, seemed more unsettling to me than that.
it's because you're forced to exist in someone else's
Exactly,
body.
I think that's what it is, because you're just kind of zombified in that case. But here, you're
Sentient.
you're sentient still, and you're forced to cohabit a body with
It's horrible.
a monster.
So as much as we were not having a go at Blue Peter just a minute ago, it's a horrible concept.
Yeah.
And
Well done, William Grantham.
you see like the face of somebody who's decayed away.
Yeah,
That's
horrible.
just grim.
Yeah, because is that how? Would you be there forever, or do you reckon you'd just stay whilst you're digesting,
Oh,
and then you'll slowly just kind
I
of?
think I took it as digesting with the faces. But
I never thought about it before, but that's now what I think it is.
which one's worse?
Being there forever would be worse.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because if you're being digested, you're going to feel it because you're sentient as well.
Either way, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And
Awful monster.
yeah, like it's
A good monster, but awful.
it's a good monster, and
yeah.
I'm with you on this one. Is like the same as this episode. People have a go at it. No. If you think about it, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's just there are moments like what's coming next. Today's like chicken.
Yeah, it's the tone again, isn't it? Tastes like chicken. Yeah, Ursula's head kind of pops up on his body, like up on his like peck now, doesn't it?
Well, kind of. I think she's like directly in the middle or something, isn't she? Like just.
She's slightly off to his right, I think.
Is she? Well, she's still got her glasses on, so you know.
The glasses were absorbed in this part. How else is she supposed to see, man?
Good point, but you know.
How considerate of the Abzorbaloff.
Well, why does he absorb
If
the glasses?
it absorbs organic materials, do you think it absorbs like fillings and stuff?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah, if you are getting digested, are there fillings just left in the Abzorbaloff's body that haven't digested? Oh, this has got gross.
What if you got braces on?
They should bring the Abzorbaloff back. Put it in.
They did in a comic strip.
They didn't just do it in a comic strip. There's a sequel to this story, but we'll come on
Yeah,
to
it's
that.
the Abzorbaloff's dad, isn't it?
Oh, you do know that?
I know this.
Oh my god, I watched it last night, and you know it's not an official thing, and it's nice for the lockdown thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll come on to it later, but
Yes.
I have thoughts.
Yeah, so Elton basically begs for Ursula to kind of be returned to normal. But he says, no, her original form's gone forever. The process is irreversible and all that stuff. Ursula can now access his thoughts. Lucky. And basically says to Elton, you should run because you're next.
This is, you were speaking about like it being like freaks you out. Like there's a look that Peter Kay does when he's about to jump across. We'll get onto the edit bit in a second, but there's a look when he's like looking down at him.
It's like a cat watching its prey almost,
It's just
isn't
horrible.
it? Yeah.
It's like, that thing is creepy.
Yeah.
And then is completely
And then-
undermined.
Yeah, because Elton runs and the Abzorbaloff jumps over the table, but because, let's be honest, Peter Kay was not a wiry man, we'll say. And by the time you add that up with all the prosthetics and costumes he's on, it's a bit clunky to walk around in. So the only way to get how fast he is across was to speed up the footage. So the way he dives over the table, it's like sped up like 2.5 times, and it looks weird.
It looks weird, but I don't know if it's anything to do with Peter Kay. I think it's more to do with how this creature looks. It's just there is that. We'll come on to it in a minute, but there's a shot of the Abzorbaloff running around the corner
Yes.
with his arms in the air going, blah.
Ooh, I'm a monster.
And that's the bit that's not really edited. He's not sped up in that
Yes,
bit.
yeah,
And you
yeah.
just go, no wonder Peter Kay looked at this and went, oh, that's my contribution. That is my
Yeah,
contribution to Doctor Who.
Yeah, he chases Elton across Cardiff, London, and yeah, he kind of gets caught in like a dead end alley. He doesn't make an attempt to jump over that little wall at the end or the gates. He just kind of like turns around and gives up.
And this is where the Abzorbaloff, you know, falls apart in terms of, well, not he does in a minute, but in terms of he stops being scary completely. He's running around the corner going bleh, and the bit where he comes out the door and he freezes in front of the camera just to go bleh. That's crikey. Like this, the bit where we should have just stayed sitting down, because that would have been like, that's a scary concept, a scary monster.
He doesn't have to move; he just has to touch you.
Yeah. Only he could like stretch after you instead or something.
Oh God!
Yeah,
if he could like fire like I don't know, like ooze. I don't know. I just imagine firing like slime, and if the slime touches you, it does it as well, and the slime could just goes back into him or something. That's how you could improve. That's how you would improve it. Instead of having. Does that make him overpowered though?
Yeah, how would you have stopped that? I guess
he could be Daleks.
He could
just fire his ooze into the Dalek casing.
Dalek looked like oozed into Abzorbaloff. Just got an eye stalk hanging out.
I imagine it again. I don't know. I was going to say it wouldn't do the casing, but then again, apparently it does.
It does glasses.
Non-organic material. So yeah, maybe we just have like Dalek bumps.
Dalek bumps.
Thoracic beam locators.
But after he's done all this running around, and I don't think it's the choice of going bleh is quite an interesting one, but I don't think it's particularly Peter Kay's fault. It
would be the director, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think if he was, I don't know how you get around this. I really don't, other than what you said. But that creature
or just make him the size of a double-decker bus.
I think that's what would have done it.
Yeah,
and I know this is meant to be the cheap episode, and Russell T Davies has asked in the cheap episode to design a Hoix.
Yes.
Do an Abzorbaloff, which takes 5. It took Peter Kay 5 hours to get into that costume.
Yeah.
What else? You got the effects of him breaking up. There was only meant to be like 3 CGI shots in this. You've got the digitally matted. Well,
faces.
Sometimes you have the digitally matted faces.
Yeah. Ursula being absorbed and him being absorbed.
So yeah, I get it, they couldn't do it. But I don't know, if you just hadn't have filmed him like approaching from like waist up.
But then again, like you said about cost as well, you also got the Autons back to recreate those scenes.
Yeah.
I think the shot from Aliens of London is recycled, but that shot of the Sycorax ship is new.
That's new, yeah. Well, they would have had to add that in, so...
Yeah.
But, that's why they can't
It's not as cheap as Boomtown was.
No. It was just a vortex.
Yeah. And a reused prop.
Reused prop.
The teleporter effect.
Slitheen coming out of Margaret.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We're getting off topic.
Yeah, we really have.
Yeah.
But the bit I was talking about is where he really comes undone is when he's going, oh, what's the matter? You're just going to give up. Oh.
Yeah. But he does. Elton gives up because he says... what's the point? Everything I loved is gone. Ursula says like, oh, Elton, don't say that.
He's been through the ringer.
Yeah, he has. And the Abzorbaloff is going to touch him, but then the TARDIS appears right behind him.
Yeah, the sound of the Abzorbaloff walking up to Elton going... which then coincides quite nicely with the... I don't know, I quite like that.
You like the harmony?
It works so well.
Yeah. The TARDIS appears, Doctor steps out. He said, someone wants a word with you.
Yeah.
And then Rose pops out. You upset my mum.
Yeah.
He goes, big green monster from outer space, and you're having a go at me. No one upsets my mum.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So the Doctor immediately starts sort of questioning the Abzorbaloff. He's like, it's like some kind of absorbatrix, absorbathon, Abzorbaloff. He goes, yes, Abzorbaloff.
That's it.
Yeah. Rose says he looks a bit Slitheen. The Doctor says, you're not from Raxacoca Phallipatoris, are you? He goes, no. They say swine. I spit on them. I'm from their twin planet.
What's the twin?
What is the twin planet? Raxacoca Phallipatoris. Clom.
Great.
Yeah. The Abzorbaloff basically says to the Doctor, give yourself to me or I'll absorb Elton. And the Doctor's like, all right, mate, I don't care. Basically.
Yeah, this is the Series 2 10th Doctor where he's a bit...
Sweet, maybe.
Passionate.
I guess.
But never confuse that for kind?
Yeah.
Is it kind?
Yeah. Yeah. He says, go on. And he goes, so be it. And then he goes to kind of absorb him, but then the doctor says, mind you, the others might have something to say about that. And Ursula says, yeah, we can work together, we can pull. So they all start pulling, and he's like, oh no, what you doing? And then he
no
no, don't do that. And he drops his cane. Ursula tells Elton to break the cane, so he kind of snaps it over his knee. Or does he just snap it with his hands? I can't remember. But he breaks it. And as the doctor puts it, that destroys the limitation field.
Yeah, for flim-flam dialogue, I quite like it. It makes sense. He can only absorb a certain amount. What's that? He can only absorb a certain amount. So that he needs something that stops him absorbing too much, and that makes sense.
Question I have. When a baby Abzorbaloff is born, at what point in their life does this limitation field come into play?
Puberty.
So do you think as babies they don't absorb?
No, they don't absorb as babies.
Right.
They eat normal food.
It's something that comes through puberty, and it's like, right, time to have the talk. You're going to get your limitation field now.
Yeah, that's how he knows what chicken tastes like, because he had to eat chicken. Chicken is a delicacy on Clom.
Do you think if the Abzorbaloff just touched a live chicken and absorbed it, it would taste like chicken cooked to us?
As in cooked?
Yeah. What we think of as the taste of chicken, would he taste that if he just touched a live chicken?
Would the Abzorbaloff taste chicken if he touched a chicken? Probably.
Anyway, Elton breaks the cane. It kind of sparks, and the Abzorbaloff just gets turned into a puddle.
Oh no! Don't do it!
Don't do it,
you stupid man!
Yeah, and he turns into a puddle and gets absorbed by the earth. What I noted about this is, considering Rose is like pissed at Elton for what he did to Jackie, she immediately goes over to console him.
Well, that's the thing. She's inadvertently not a nice person, because she's
selfish.
She is.
That's it. She's like, she's not stupid. Like, she can see that he's in pain, and she's like, hey, this isn't the best time. Yeah. Like, he's just lost everything he knows and loves.
And she
goes over to console him. But yeah, I think she
stands there.
Because the doctor's not a kind man. No, not in this incarnation, anyway. Yeah. So they sat down, and the doctor's finally going to explain to Elton what happened on that night when he was a kid. He said he was hunting an elemental shade which escaped its home dimension. He managed to catch it and sort it out, but not in time to save Elton's mother, who was killed. So back in the flat, Elton's kind of talking to his camera again, and he's just finally wrapping up this story. He says that, meeting the doctor is dangerous. For a while he had a really special group of friends, but that group was basically destroyed because of the doctor. Yeah. He understands that death and destruction is what happens to someone who kind of touches his world and all that stuff. He quotes Stephen King.
Damnation and salvation
are the same thing.
I just wanted to mention about the mother dying. That last bit with blue sky. I think it comes back to that point I made earlier about this is a grown-up episode and this is quite sad.
Yeah.
That bit where she's waving bye-bye to the boy and Mr. Blue Sky is fading out.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Jesus, that's sad.
And that's like something from Life on Mars.
We've just gone from Peter Kay running around Cardiff.
You're stupid, man.
oh no! To a child losing his mother.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I like so many of the ideas in here, but yeah, the tonal whiplash, I don't think it was directed the best.
Yeah. I just got this image of a passerby seeing, not knowing what's going on. Because you know when Peter Kay bursts out of the Linda HQ?
Yes.
There's a train going past in the background. Imagine being on a train and you just see Peter Kay going, "Blah."
You wouldn't recognise him, would you? Just be, oh, big green bog man.
And Mark Warren running in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Anyway, see, that's the tonal whiplash I'm talking about. We were just talking about, and now, yeah.
Salvation and damnation.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says he never knew what that meant, but he does now. He says, when you touch the doctor, you pay the price. I can't help but wonder how long Rose and Jackie have, basically. Yeah. He says, he knows it wasn't the doctor's fault, and that he did do one last thing for Elton. Which is Sonic, the paving slab that the Abzorbaloff was absorbed into. Elton, fetch a spade.
Yeah. And, we know what happens in terms of who appears immersed in a paving slab. Neil Gorton sums it up quite nicely, I think. He just puts, never had been asked to put a head in a paving slab before.
Yeah. So the Doctor uses Sonic, and he's kind of partially able to restore the last victim. So we have Ursula's face kind of popping out of the paving slab. And yeah, now that's her existence. She's a face on a piece of concrete.
Yeah.
Elton says they,
Go on.
they have a relationship. They even have a bit of a love life.
Do you want to expand?
I don't. Is it necessary?
What? That's what I'm asking Russell T Davies. Was that a necessary line? Two things. Well, let's not go into that. Thank God.
Yes. Thank God he has some self-control.
Well, Russell has some self-control. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't get past the line. Like we talked about earlier about clever innuendo.
Yeah.
That's not clever.
No.
The image that conjures up. I'm not going to go
Well,
in.
there's only one thing that can be done, isn't there? But my question is, where does it go?
Where does...
So there's one thing that can be done, right? And this, to put it delicately, this one thing involves the main orifice associated with the face.
Yeah.
And once opened, that orifice must lead somewhere.
Oh, jeez.
Because the paving slab is not that thick. So, where does it go? And also, where does Elton's belongings go?
Belongings?
What do you want to call it, man? His love custard, where does it go?
Oh, that. No. Love custard. That is
Sorry. Where does it go? That's my question.
Sneeze.
Does it get absorbed and go somewhere, or does this concrete slab just start getting moister by the day, is my question. Does it start... Is it like one day he's going to pick it up and it's like stuck to the countertop?
Oh, God.
Let's talk about something else.
Oh, my God. to quote Phil Collinson, we draw the veil on their relationship there.
How eloquently put.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah.
Phil. Fill it up. No. Anyway.
Oh, dear. No. So Elton says, the world isn't all it seems. It's so much better.
Well, especially if you've got a paving slab that you can...
Yeah. But that's it. That's Love and Monsters. Everyone's everyone's favourite episode to make fun of, other than maybe Orphan 55.
It's one that moments like that deserve to be making fun of. Monster gone bleh.
Yeah.
A paving slab. But other than that... Oh, I know people like to make fun of the Scooby-Doo. I like that, though.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I just like the cold open.
But it's genuinely, it's peaks and troughs. It's intense, then incredibly childish going into Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Then it's like this bloke's life.
Yeah.
And getting quite serious.
Yeah. Then we get this sweet, character...
Piece on Jackie.
Well, I wasn't even going to say. I was going to say about the Linda group, how they kind of... It starts off as having this thing in common with the Doctor, but they kind of end up turning into this social group where they comfort each other through their ups and downs of life, and they share their interests with each other, and they become genuine friends. And then someone comes in and kind of, I don't know, taints that a little bit. And then, we get this bit with Jackie where we get to see her vulnerable side. There's some really interesting character stuff going on in this episode.
Yeah. And I think, Peter Kay does the comedy really well when he's Victor Kennedy.
I agree.
He is funny. But he's quite threatening.
Yes.
Like, this is a villain. This is, so it's serious. And then you get to the, not even necessarily the newspaper bit. I think even when he...
It's pretty much...
Jump up the desk.
Yes.
You've jumped the desk. The show's jumped the shark.
Yeah.
it's him going, "Bleh," and then that's the low of the episode.
Yeah.
Then it gets better, quite serious, adult, mother, dead.
Yeah.
And then the paving slap.
Yeah.
And even that last 2 minutes, it's Stephen King, damnation and salvation. Oh, that's what I do to this paving slab is horrible. And
she doesn't have much of a say in it. Because she doesn't.
I don't even want to.
She doesn't have any limbs.
I don't even want to talk about that bit. They said love life. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And then the very last line is, "The world is so much stranger, isn't it? Just paving slabs.
Yes.
So much braver." Whatever he says, and that's a nice ending line. But it's just so. You've got 20 minutes in the middle, which is really good.
Really good. Yeah.
You've got some nice bits at the start, some nice bits at the end, but then moments probably for a lot of people tainted it at the time.
Yeah, and like I say, I'm not blind to it. Do you know what I mean? I see that, it is overly silly and it is tonally inconsistent. But then again, when I think about it, so is like Rose.
Yeah.
Rose is a tonally inconsistent episode.
Yeah.
And I know it's not a lot of people's favourites, but people don't look at these two in the same light.
No.
And I think, granted, I think this at its... I don't know, actually. I was going to say this at its worst is worse than Rose at its worst. I don't know, actually.
No. I can't agree with that.
No, I take it back.
At least the monster in Rose is...
There's no burping bin in Love and Monsters.
Oh, I forgot about the burping bin. Good point.
Yeah. But also, I think this at its best is a lot more interesting than Rose at its best.
I agree. It's definitely more interesting.
So, quality, it's subjective. You like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. But I think for people to say this is the worst episode of Doctor Who, not even close.
Yeah. I don't know if I hope opinions change. I think I didn't check the latest.
Last time the polls were done in Doctor Who magazine, I think Love and Monsters was definitely bottom 3 for the 10th Doctor's era.
Can I think of... Well,
I think Fear Her might have been at the bottom.
I don't like Fear Her.
Tell you what, let me just get this up.
Yeah, I think
just because I know this, because I actually posted the results of that magazine onto the Doctor Who subreddit, so it'll be one of the few things that I actually posted.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, I think I watched this over Fear Her.
Love and Monsters is the 3rd worst 10th Doctor episode, according to that poll.
Is it Fear Her, Idiot's Lantern?
Fear Her, Lazarus Experiment, Love and Monsters.
Lazarus Experiment?
Yeah.
I really like the
Idiot's Lantern after Love and Monsters.
I'd put Lazarus Experiment above Idiot's Lantern.
I would as well.
I'd
Idiot's Lantern is maybe my least favourite in Series 2.
What else?
I'd rather watch Fear Her than Idiot's Lantern.
You'd rather watch Fear Her than Idiot's Lantern?
It took you a while to catch up to that one.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I would, genuinely.
Sorry, Fear Her. I don't like you.
I just like the council man.
Kev? Is it Kev?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know, obviously, the Abzorbaloff is just the name that the Doctor and Elton actually gave to it. Do you know what the Abzorbaloff's actual species name is?
I don't. Clamorian or something?
Abzorbalovian.
Abzorbalovian.
Yeah. That's part of the Genuine Article webcast.
Oh, the
Doctor Who lockdown thing.
The lockdown thing.
Yeah.
There's no point in reviewing that. It is, is it canon?
It's Doctor Who, innit?
Yeah.
Pick your own canon.
I mean, it's fine. It's, them lockdown things gave us some nice things.
Yeah.
Abzorbaloff's dad. Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Love and Monsters.
Yeah. Overall, I would say round up, but I think we've said it quite a few times already.
Out of 10?
5.
I'll give it 5.5, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say...
Give it what you want.
I gave the Christmas...
Give it a 5.01.
I'm not going to do that.
5.00136.
Okay, no, we're not doing that. But I will... I prefer the Christmas Invasion, which I gave a 6.
Yeah, I do too.
Can't give this a 6. But before we do go, I do have a love.
Oh, yeah, you said you had a quiz or something.
Yeah, I do.
I'm not going to be good at this.
It's incredibly tenuous, and since it was like Valentine's Day yesterday, and this episode is called Love and Monsters,
okay,
I have wrote a Love and Monsters quiz.
So they sound like two separate things.
They are.
Okay.
This is why this is incredibly tenuously linked. So I've gone through each series of Doctor Who, New Who.
Okay.
And I've wrote one question on love for Series 1.
Okay.
And then one question on monsters for Series 2. And I've alternated like that.
Okay.
Otherwise, there was
to what series?
Series 14.
Gotcha. Okay.
I could have done 2 for each, but that would have taken a long time.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
So I'll give you the first one.
Okay.
On Rose and Mickey's date in Boomtown,
Yes.
who has Mickey allegedly been dating?
That's Trisha Delaney.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now to the monster.
Oh, God.
In which glen did the werewolves meteor land in Tooth and Claw?
Oh, you are taking the... My God.
I feel like I was nice to start with, so...
Which Glen? Glen Close.
It landed in Glen Close.
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
It's the Glen of St. Catherine.
Nope, I would not have got that.
Cool. Back to Love,
Yeah.
Series 3.
Yeah.
What was the name of the couple who kidnapped Martha in Gridlock?
Oh, good God.
Now, I didn't think this was like a horrible question,
No.
but when I try thinking of the answer...
No, this is one of those things. So Series 1, like I say, I've just watched it. Me and Charlotte have been making our way through it. As soon as you start getting to episodes like Gridlock in Series 3, I'm like, I like Gridlock, but I'm like, it's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
I feel like they've got like futuristic names. I feel like they're not called like Dave. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they
I don't know. The bloke's not called Dave, but it's not really a future name. The other person, I'm not so sure.
I don't know. What is it?
The bloke's name begins with M, if that helps.
Mike? Mark?
Close to Mike.
Michael?
Milo.
Okay.
Milo and Cheen.
Gene?
Cheen.
Cheen? Okay. Wouldn't have got that.
The alternative question for that one was, what was the name of the old couple?
I wouldn't know that either.
The Cassini sisters?
Oh, mate, it's been so long.
Anyway, I don't know why I chose Gridlock, but there was lots of love stuff in that.
Yeah.
I've tried to choose which are the most obvious monsters from the seasons I've chosen monsters from. So I've gone, which galaxy does the Vesper form originate from?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, you're really showing me up. Would you have known these before researching them?
I would have got Milo. I wouldn't have said Cheen. I would have got Trisha Delaney. I think I would have got the Glen. This one, I don't think I would have got.
Which galaxy is the Vesper form from?
I was going to ask which planet, but that wasn't an answer.
I don't know.
It's the Silfrax galaxy.
Again, never would have got that. Not even close.
Cool. Back to Love.
Okay.
How did Sophie and Craig like to spend their Friday nights in the lodger?
Oh, that feels like one I should be able to get. How do they like to spend their nights? They seem very much like a eat ice cream in front of the TV kind of couple.
Yeah, it's got like they said, right, should we do tonight?
Specific.
They have a saying.
Right, like Netflix and chill, but not Netflix and chill.
Yeah, they have a process of what
Yeah.
they... We could go out, but we could also do...
Yeah. You're going to tell me and I'm going to kick myself.
Should I tell you?
Yeah, go on.
Pizza, booze, telly.
Yeah, okay.
This one isn't fair, but I couldn't think of anything else.
The preface that this one isn't fair. Okay.
Which classic Doctor Who species is the Minotaur a cousin of from the God Complex?
Good God. I'm going to assume this is an episode I've not seen as well.
That's why it's not fair.
Yeah, okay. But you chose to go with it anyway.
I was just thinking, like, Series 6, what monsters could you have gone for?
Silence.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
The Siren.
I'm not watching Curse of the Black Spot.
The Rebel Flesh.
No.
Okay. I don't know.
These are some niche questions.
Yeah,
I'm thinking back
yeah,
on some of these.
Yeah, go on. I don't know.
The Naimon.
Right.
Ever heard of that?
I think I've heard it in passing.
Okay. Back to Love and monsters.
Oh,
So this is the only way I could even them up is if I did a question on love and a monster.
okay.
It's from Series 7, so it's obviously Hyde. The creature in Hyde that wished to get to his partner, who the Doctor quotes, "This is not a ghost story, but a love story."
Yes.
What is the creature called in the episode?
It's weird, right? Because these one-off creatures that are kind of a bit of nothing, I either have nothing or I remember that the creature from Vincent and the Doctor is the Crephaeus. Don't know why, but I remember
Yeah.
that. But you asked me what this is called.
This is the thing. I didn't remember this.
Oh.
And it's not like a species name. It's like a title that he's given it, essentially.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's not a species name.
The something something.
Well, this is something the Doctor calls it.
I think he calls it, but also the ghost people.
I don't know. The Phantom. Don't know.
The Crooked Man.
Doesn't seem like an apt description of him.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a man.
Valid. But they only see it like cracks of lightning and stuff, don't they?
I guess.
I remember seeing that in the Next Time trailer for Hyde, and I was like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to love. In Listen, how many wells does Danny say he has dug on his date with Clara?
Oh my God, Rob. Good God, what have you done? 20.
Ooh, 23.
Ah.
I sat there and researched this. Jesus. You've got one so far, which is good, because this
isn't good. This is awful.
No, it's a niche quiz. I'd be really interested to know, if people listen to this, what they got. What band was the voice artist who provided the scream for the Fisher King part of?
9 Inch Nails.
No.
Oh, that would have been good, though.
Slipknot.
Oh, that makes sense.
Corey Taylor,
yeah.
Back to love. In Extremis, who does the Doctor suggest Bill go on a date with at the end of the episode?
Is it the girl that she's on a date with at the beginning?
Yes.
You want her name?
Yes, please.
Oh, I should know this. Chloe?
Penny.
Penny. No, Penny's the... I thought Penny was the puddle.
No, that's
Heather.
Heather.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah.
Back to Monsters, Series 11.
Go on.
What species was Tim Shaw or Zimjar?
Oh, I know this. It's like Istari or something.
What was it?
Astari?
Begins with S.
Does it? Tim Shaw is a... Oh, I'm going to kick myself for that.
Stenza.
Oh, yeah. I knew that. That's so annoying. That's one of those ones like you talk about freaking... I can't remember what you said. What was the thing in Hyde again?
The Crooked Man.
The Crooked Man. I've already forgotten. I mean, there's no way I was going to get that. Stenza, like, I knew that. Why didn't that come to my head?
I think I started realising when I reached Series 9 that I haven't done very fair questions. So I started to get a bit better.
Yeah.
But then, right in this, I didn't know this because I've only seen this episode twice. And it's from Series 12 now, Love.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to have a guess which episode it might be from?
I'm not going to lie, I've only watched Series 12 once.
You're not going to like this question then.
I love Praxis.
It is from Praxeus. What was the name of the couple, one of which was an astronaut in Praxeus?
Mark.
That's the name of the couple.
I have no idea.
It's Jake Willis and Adam Lang.
Is Adam the guy that tries to kill himself?
In the spacesuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now back to monsters.
God.
What was the name of the Sontaran commander in War of the Sontarans?
Oh, God. Again, this is an episode I've seen once.
You've only seen this once?
Did you watch Flux?
Yeah, but I love War of the Sontarans.
The only one I've watched Village of the Angels twice.
You've only seen that twice?
All the other ones I watched once.
I think that's great. Okay, right. I know the story doesn't end quite nicely, but there's some good ones in there. Don't. I shouldn't have brought up Sontarans.
Stahl.
It's Ritzgar.
Nah. Stahl's one of the ones from the other story, I think.
General Stahl, yes.
Yeah.
Final two questions you'll be glad to know.
Never letting you do a quiz again.
What was the name of the two What was the name of the two Roth warriors which beat the meat kills?
No idea. Absolutely no idea. Zarg and Bloff.
Zreeg and Zogrov. Sergeant Zogrov and Principal Zreeg. And we end on love, because why not?
Yeah.
And I had a voice break again. What are Rogue's last words to the Doctor in Rogue?
Oh, God, again, I've seen it once. See you on the other side.
Something similar.
See you soon.
No.
Goodbye.
He says, find me.
Oh, yeah, of course he does. Oh, yeah.
There you go, that's the end of the quiz.
Kind of an iconic thing, isn't it? Yeah, why did I forget? Yeah. Wow, well, I hated that. Thank you.
Thank God for Trisha Delaney, eh?
Thank God for keeping my ego in check. Appreciate it.
How did you do on the one that Charles gave you?
I got 16 of 20.
That was a hard quiz, in my opinion.
I thought she went quite easy on me, but then again, I think that had the advantage of, one, because it was the first time Charlotte put something like that together, she didn't know how hard or difficult to make the questions.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, how easy or difficult to make the questions. But then there's also, because we obviously not only watched it recently, but we watched it with a closer eye. It wasn't just like in passing, but because we were making notes and stuff. I feel like a lot of that information was quite fresh in my head.
That makes sense.
So it's not just like, oh, it was on in the background like a couple of weeks ago. This is like, I watched it and I was making notes while watching it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But who knew the Face of Bo's kids had a name?
Right, yeah. I looked into this, actually, right?
Oh, God.
Slight discrepancy, but not entirely wrong.
Oh.
Bomina is not the name of the Face of Bo's child.
Right.
Bomina is the collective term for the children of the Face of Bo.
Okay. I didn't know that anyway, so...
I didn't either.
Yeah.
But yeah, bit of clarification on that one.
I'll try and make them a little bit less niche if I do another one then.
I hated that. I was like, oh, Trish, oh man, I'm going to be so good at this.
I panicked. I panicked when you got that.
Yeah.
Like, uh-oh.
Yeah, and then second one, I was like, good God.
I should have asked one about Love and Monsters, really, but, you know, that was a tenuously linked quiz.
That's a good idea. It's fun.
Yeah.
We do that for every time. Like, if we do a quiz in an episode, like, I don't know, Vincent and the Doctor, and they're just like 10 random questions about people called Vincent. And doctors.
And doctors, yeah. I'll be a bit rubbish if I ever get asked to do one with one name title episode.
Extremis.
Oh, God. I'll do like a quiz which starts with the letter from, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else to add about Love and Monsters?
It's not as bad as people say it is.
I agree.
Cool.
And on that note,
yep.
Comments, if you have something nice to say, if you disagree about Love and Monsters, don't want to hear it. But with that in mind, don't forget to leave a like down below if you enjoyed. You can check us out on YouTube, on Spotify, or over on Apple Podcasts if you want to keep up with this stuff. I guess you'll see us next episode. It'll be me and Charles again, where we're going to meet Chloe Webber in the 2012 Olympics.
Good luck.
Thank you. For Fear Her. But until then, thank you all for listening. Stay safe. Stay away from eczema. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.